It's amazing to me sometimes how the old adage of all good things must come to an end holds true, even if we're heading on to something else that's exciting down the pike. What do I mean? Well, recently I've kind of gotten caught up with the G1 figures in my collection, and I looked at the last 4 not that long ago. I looked at the last of my Transformers Prime figures. I've looked at the last of the movie figures I currently have with the Studio Series Ironhide. Granted, Studio Series is going to continue, and there are some exciting things that I'm looking forward to getting there as well. We've looked at the last of the Power of the Prime's leader class figures with Rodimus Unicronus, who was long overdue. And we've looked at the last of the Legends class figures with Cindersaur. Possibly the last of that size class altogether, though let's hope not. Well, we're going to do one more last today, when we look at the last of the Power of the Prime's deluxe class figures. Well, sort of, because we do have one to come after this. Who am I talking about? None other than the Wave 4, the lone member of Wave 4, that, of course, being Power of the Prime's Novastar, or I'm going to call her Firestar. And she's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and me everywhere. And I hope you're having a tremendous day, night, whatever. And this is Novastar. It's funny. Flare Up was created originally as a alternate body for this character. And it was decided that, no, that will be a different character, a protege of this character. And even now, apparently they still don't have the rights to the name, so they called her Firestar, or Novastar, even though we know that it's Firestar. I dig her. I like this mold anyway. I liked it as Moonracer. I like it as her. The bit of retooling that will be used to give us Chromia in the Siege line, I'm looking forward to. A lot of people have a problem with this figure, largely because of the whole backpack issue. But I don't know, I leave it like this and I dig it. I love the colors. There's actually a significant amount of paint here, especially gray. It works for me as a rendition of the character. It is highly accurate if you know the character. And though we're kind of coming to the end of the kind of Prime Wars trilogy and the Power of the Prime's line, and though it seemed kind of short, I like the way that it's going out, leading us into the upcoming and exciting, hopefully, Siege line. We shall see what happens with that. I absolutely dig this, and what else can I say? That's about it. She's fun, she's functional, and she has some funky colors. Enough of me babbling on about her. Let's head over to the table and take a closer look at her. Ah, Power of the Primes, you came and went so fast. Of course, we have concluded the Voyagers with Hotspot being the last one in that line. And that was a reuse of Onslaught from Combiner Wars. And of course, we very recently ended the Leader series with, finally, Rodimus Unicronus. We've looked at the last couple of Legends figures, both of them reuses, and now we look at the last mainline deluxe. And it is another reuse, but one that I kind of like, even though I feel like this mold has gotten a lot of flack. Here, of course, we have Novastar, and we're going to start out like we always do and take a quick look at the packaging. And as you can probably tell, my packaging has seen better days. I got this from Amazon. It was just in a bubble envelope, and it wasn't very well taken care of. That being said, here in Canada, these are finally starting to show up at local retail, so hopefully your packaging will be in better condition than mine. Nevertheless, I do like the art, and as always, we have the product shots on the back with the whole, you know, how is she going to wield the power of the primes? Nothing we haven't seen before. And And of course the hit or miss of any figure, the instructions. Although these are pretty good, I just don't want to unfold them because they will never get folded up again. But if you do need the instructions, they're not bad. And as always, we have a prime armor hand piece. This one is red and orange. The little clear piece in the center there, it can come out and be used as an extra hand blaster. You can put a Prime Master or a Titan Master in there, we all know this. The fingers are also orange, just like the two thumb pieces here. It's prime armor. Yeah, it's prime armor. And we have this cool looking blaster. I absolutely dig this thing. It is molded in black and painted gray. And of course, our favorite part of any of these, the ever popular collector's card. And here we have the Novastar, I guess protecting Energon from Decepticons. This is actually Liege Maximo Novastar, and she basically can kind of find her way into enemy ranks by convincing them that she is a Decepticon. Oh, you silver-tongued devil, you. And here we have the vehicle mode, and this is where we're going to start because when I took a look at Moonracer back in episode 393, we went from robot mode to arm mode to leg mode to vehicle mode. So now we're going to go backwards and start with the vehicle mode. I said that I found Moonracer rolled pretty well, and a lot of people complained about the little kind of spike pieces, I guess we'll call them, on the chest. On this one, I guess they're there. I guess they do hinder a little bit, but yeah, I guess they do hinder a little bit. I find that they hinder more on her than they do on Novastar. Than they do on Moonracer. Speaking of Moonracer, here we have both uses of the mold, and I do think that the vehicle mode probably matches Moonracer slightly better. I've heard this described as like a Cybertronian limo. I can sort of see where that's coming from. And of course, Novastar, or Firestar, if you will, is really supposed to be more of a, I guess, a Cybertronian truck. So, okay, the vehicle mode, it's not very accurate. I gotta concede that. But I like the vehicle mode. A lot of people don't. I do. I sort of dig it. It's alright with me. Both of them have a lot of paint. You will notice that the Novastar version here does have the prime armor attached on the back. I'm not planning on leaving it there. You can do it. Alternate configuration is having it off, and like with Moonracer here, you can put the blaster there. So if you were to do that same sort of configuration with Novastar, she would look like this. I don't know. Is that better? Is that worse? I don't know. It's probably what I'm going to go with, because I don't like having the prime armor there. I also have the kind of hands down around the back as they're supposed to be in vehicle configuration. For the other configurations, they're placed differently, and you can do the same thing in the vehicle mode. In fact, that's how I'm going to kind of start to transform her to her leg mode, which is what we're going to go to next. I'm not going to give any paint upgrades or articulation or any of that stuff until we get her in robot mode. So we're going to start off right away with the conversion. And yeah, leg mode, then arm mode, then robot mode. So we begin by removing her blaster thing, accessory, which we will see again later, and it can do a kind of a cool trick that I'm sure a lot of you know by now. Nevertheless, we begin really by coming to the back here, and we, if I can do it, there. We detach the arm, and we bring it up over. Now there's a little, I guess, tab right there. And down behind here, there's a little notch for it to go in. And up on the top, there's a little notch for it to go in. So you can take that hand and should be able to notch it in up here. There. You can notch it in up on top. Take it. This one up, do the same thing, we'll notch it in on the top. If I'm lucky. And we can have the vehicle looking like this. Now pardon me for kind of the cutaway there, but it's a little like it's not tricky to do, but from this distance and on camera it's tricky to do. You see what you have, in case you don't know, is there's a little tab on these kind of fender pieces that go into the shoulder. And then that little tiny tab on the forearm goes between two notches on this fender piece. It sounds like a lot to line up. It's not when you can see the little tabs in the slots that they go in. Then it's pretty easy. Though I made a cut there, honestly, once I kind of picked it up and looked at it, it was 2 seconds to do it, I guess, something like that, and then I just laid it down and here we are. So that is the alternate vehicle configuration. I feel like the stock configuration I will use for Moonracer. This configuration I'll probably use for Novastar here. And I'm cool with that. I'm alright with that. Some people complain about the hands hanging out on back. Whatever. It's Cybertronian. It's fine. It's fine. No big deal, man. I can deal with it. So, going now to the foot mode is pretty simple from here. At this point, we take the front of the vehicle and we bring it down really at the knees, and then down below the knees there's another hinge for this whole section to bend up on the back. And then we have this, I guess it's the front of the vehicle, I suppose. It can open up enough, especially if you move the legs back, that you can pick out this red piece here, and then you just line all of this back up. And there you go. You have a leg. I'm just going to center this a little bit more for us. And here we have 2 legs. I forgot to pick up the combiner port. It's just down, kind of on our back really. You just flip it up straight. It obviously will serve as a knee. You have 2 options here. You, of course, can leave the arms as they're shown here on the red and orange Novastar. You can see that the hands are up a little bit higher. Or you can actually place them back in the stock configuration like I have done here with Moonracer. 2, I guess, slightly different options for how the legs look depending on what you dig. Okay, arm mode from here. So all we did to get to leg mode is we repositioned the arms, we brought the combiner peg, and we basically bent her at a double hinge in the knee, technically. What do we do for arm mode? Well, let's say she's gonna be this arm over here. And we'll just put the combiner peg down as if it's gonna be a shoulder. We turn her at the waist, including this whole front piece. We bring this down at the knees, and that's it. Now we have an arm. You don't believe me? Well, let's put a hand in there just to prove it. And I guess if she's this arm, it's gonna be this hand, and it goes in there. You'll notice I didn't use a foot piece there, but if you were using this as a leg, you'd put a foot piece in there. There you go, arm. That's an arm. And it's a pretty functional arm, it's alright. I dig it. It's, you know, it's an okay arm. And here we have 2 arms, a left arm and a right arm. And same thing, I mean, they convert, convert the same way. There you go. There you go. Stumbled over my words for a minute there. It's been a long day. You can do the same variation with the robot mode arms, either having them like this or like they are on Moonracer. That's up to you, but that brings us to going to our last mode, which is going to be the glorious robot mode. And if you can believe it, going to robot mode is easy from here. We remove the combined mode hand. That will probably never go used by me ever again. We put down the combiner peg, we unpeg the arm and open out that flap. We can bring the arm all the way down now. We do the same over here. We open out that arm flap and bring this arm down. And we straighten out the legs. And of course, we're very, very close now. We turn the figure around to face us. And we back things up just a little bit. I didn't want you to miss any of the goodness, so now that we have that much done, we can we open this out now? Yeah, we can open that out. And flip up the head, close this back up, I guess bring that piece around as well. Then we can rotate at the waist, and pick this up out of the way, and rotate the very lower waist all the way around. Because this whole kind of center pelvis section here, I suppose, lower tummy section, is like a separate piece. Above it we have a rotation, below it we have a rotation. I'll talk about that more when we get to articulation. We split the feet and we bring them down, and now we should be able to stand Novastar up just like that, and she is in her robot mode. And for the record, she holds her blaster just fine. And just like with the other use of the mold, you have options here. You can remove the blaster from her hand if you don't want her to hold it. You can come around the back here and flip this whole back piece up. Oh, make sure that's down. And you can store it right there on her back. Again, you can give her a full backpack, or you can sort of leave this down like a skirt piece. It's up to you. Same here, you can leave these pieces all the way back or sort of flared out to the side. Either way, because of the combiner peg, she's gonna have a bit of a backpack. Doesn't bother me, not in the least. The rest of the articulation is pretty great actually. The head can look up, down, left, right. It is covered in paint, it's glorious. And I find her head more solid than on Moonracer. Moonracer likes to kind of pop off. The shoulders go all the way around, out to the side. We have a ball joint at the elbow, so it can bend to a little over 90 degrees. That gives us our swivel. We have wrists that can hinge inward, if that's any good to you. Now we have, if you keep this up like a full backpack, we have, at least I think, or am I wrong about that? No, if you leave that up as a full backpack, you have a rotation that is above, like this red piece. It's on the gray piece, basically, is where the rotation would start. And it's limited because, of course, you're hitting the backpack. If you bring that piece down like a skirt piece, tails on a jacket, whatever, you still got a rotation because now it's a lower body rotation. Either at the gray or down at the red pelvis. Like, any way you cut it, you're going to have a waist rotation. I absolutely dig it. We have a thigh swivel up here by the ball joint. Legs can kick forward. If that's the way, they can go all the way back, unhindered. We have a knee to there. If you use the other hinge, you get a super deep knee bend. But at the very least, you get 90 degrees. What else? What am I missing? The feet. We have, like, not an ankle tilt, but like an ankle wiggle. It's, you know, it's there, I guess. We have a lot of paint here. Possibly some of the red, definitely all of the gray, everywhere is paint. And the Autobot symbol, this orange up here I believe is paint. The yellowy color on her face is paint, so there's a lot. Here she is next to Moonracer. And I don't know, I figure that Alita 1 is probably happy to have both of these in her ranks. I like the mold, though a lot of people don't. One other little trick that can be done here that I kind of was saving till the end is, and a lot of people have noticed this, you have two openings, like kind of in the barrel and I guess the sight for Novastar's blaster, and you can take Moonracer's blaster, which I absolutely love. I think it's a great accessory, and you can actually, though it's very tight to do on mine, but you can lock these two together like that and make it like one blaster. Like that's cool, I guess. Of course, Moonracer is left now with nothing, so it's up to you, but like it's an option, it's kind of cool. So now we get down to the grades. So the real question is this: is Novastar any good? The paint on Moonracer I gave an 8.5 to. For Novastar here, I think it's even better. It's certainly closer to the animation. Here is what's missing from the animation. Yes, her alt mode is off, so right away she's down to a 9. Well, 9.5, because at least the alt mode is long. So 9.5, I gotta knock her because the alt mode is off. But in this mode, really, the only things that she's missing is her hands shouldn't be orange, they should be the same color as her face, that kind of yellowy color, I guess. On her forearms, there's a couple of those yellowy accents. Same on her biceps. There's a little bit of silver also missing from her bicep, on kind of the outer side of her bicep. And her elbows should be that yellowy color, but I kind of understand why they just left it red, being the ball joint that it is. Why make that stand out more than it already does? So outside of those couple of little yellow highlights missing, oh, and the orange that's up by her neck shouldn't be there. Outside of like a couple of minor things like that, and I guess depending on how big of a deal you see that her alt mode is certainly stylized, if you really want her alt mode to be super accurate, then she's a 0 because she fails at that. It's not the right alt mode. But in terms of a representation of the character, I think that she's a little bit better than Moonracer. If Moonracer was an 8.5, I think she's a 9. Articulation for Moonracer, 9.5. There's so much you can do. You have variations of where you can put the robot mode hands for both leg and arm mode. You can adjust the backpack, as egregious as it might be, you can adjust it the least objectionable way that works for you. And really, the arms have free range, the legs have free range, very deep knees, the head can move all around. We definitely have a waist swivel. There's not much more you could want. A lot of people say, I don't like the mold. Have you experienced it? Because it's pretty great. The articulation was a 9.5. It's still a 9.5. It's pretty much perfect articulation. And then we get to the transformation. It's simple. It's easy. 10. Bottom line is this. Moonracer is a 9.5. It's a great figure. I think if you haven't experienced it and you judge it based on looking at the backpack and saying, ugh, that don't look good, I think you're really shortchanging yourself on what is by rights a great figure. I think that this is an even slightly better use of it. I do like the remolded head, even though that's the only thing that's different. Overall, if Moonracer was a 9.5, I think Novastar is a 9.75. Excellent, excellent way to kind of top off the deluxes, even if it was a mold reuse. And if you don't like the mold, like if you didn't like it as Moonracer, I can guarantee you this is not going to change your mind. It is what it is. So that's it. Now, for Power of the Primes, we've looked at everything from the main line. We've even looked at a special edition for Combiner Wars and a special edition for Titans Return, I guess. The next leap that we make is going to be kind of obvious if you stop and think about it, right? And what else can I say? Because I have kind of taken it upon myself to really not have an interest in much from the Bumblebee movie line or much from the Cyberverse line at all. In fact, Cyberverse, I think there might be 3 figures there worth even looking at over Wave 1 and 2. And there are only 3 from the Warrior class assortment, being Shockwave, Prowl, and I don't even remember who the 3rd one was. That's how much I'm kind of not interested in the Cyberverse line. I can't get behind it. It's overpriced for what it is. Considering I'm not really looking at much from those lines, right now I'm sort of left with the Studio line and the Generations line. And in a way I feel accomplishment, and in a way I feel sadness, because the Studio line right now with what's out is kind of what's going to be out for the next little while at least. I am excited about some things to come there. And now, after her, I really have to wait until the Siege line for anything new. That doesn't mean we're done though, even though a lot of things kind of have come to a conclusion, and the word last has been sort of a a common theme here over the course of a few reviews, I still have something to come that I'm excited about. Anyway, I've really gone on too long about, you know, these things that are coming to an end. What about her? She's great. There you go. She's great. She's fun. If you didn't like the mold as Moonracer, you're not going to like it as her. If you did like the mold as Moonracer, she's pretty fun. Plus, you could put her blaster with Moonracer's and get a bigger blaster, whichever one of them you want to give it to. It's great. I absolutely dig it. Let me know what you think about her, or if she's even shown up in your neck of the woods yet. I got her from Amazon, but I think she is, in my neck of the woods, finally beginning to show up at local retail. So hopefully she becomes more visible than I expected her to be, because I had a big fear that she wasn't going to show up at all. Let me know what you think about her. Thanks for giving me some of your extremely valuable time. You know how valued and appreciated it is. Oh, by the way, before I go, I said that she was technically the last of the deluxe line. Sort of. Because we actually do have something that should be a proper send-off for us. And that, of course, is the third member that is a Prime Wars Trilogy Special Edition exclusive. Can you guess who I'm talking about? I think you know. I think you know. Here's another hint. He has 2 robot modes. I will save that for next time. Now I'll say, I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit. Right here, inside the videos.